Welcome to Nollywood Film Club. I'm Mr. C, a Ryoko critic. I hope you're doing well. Sorry, this is late for those of you who have been waiting for it. I won't waste your time. What a conversation about a movie that is a Nollywood movie, a movie that was watched, and a movie that was discussed. Enjoy the conversation. That's not how I do this. All right, sorry. I hope you enjoyed Nollywood movie. What? Oh God! I hope you enjoyed Nollywood Film Club discussing the Lost Days.
All right, I have to do the intro again. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So welcome to Nollywood Film Club. We do discuss Nollywood movies slash conversations. Um, this Sunday we are discussing The Lost Days. Is another First Features production directed by Wingonia, who at some point for a short period of time, who used to be an NFC contributor for a short period of time. I don't know whether she'd want me to say that, but yeah, so she's going to be on the other end for this. Maybe you should listen to this. It's going to be interesting for her, but we're going to discuss what we liked about the Lost Days in the good. We'll discuss what we don't like in the bad, and we'll disagree in the pushback, and we'll do a summary at the end. So, Vanessa, do you want to tell us what you liked about the Lost Days?
Sure. Um, what did I like about the Lost Days? I like, at least for the first 50 something odd minutes of this film, I like the idea of a second chance love story. It's one of my favorite tropes in romance. Something about two people who were once a thing, pulled apart by whatever circumstances or whatever mistakes were made, and then are thrown into each other's paths again. I find it incredibly romantic. I think it's one of my favorite tropes ever. And especially when it's with an older couple, I feel like it gets me even more. And Ifoma Fafunwa and Bimbo Manuel were fantastic together. The tension, the awkwardness, the what are you doing here that Bimbo Manuel's character Kola asks her many times in the first few hours of her showing up at his house unannounced. Fantastic. They were both giving incredible performances. Um, Ifeoma Fafunwa is also an incredibly beautiful woman. I enjoy seeing her on my screen a lot, not just because she was beautiful, but because she was doing the damn thing. Um, Shout out to the guy who plays the younger Kola, like his son. A very pretty face, but also a pretty good performance. Like, I was annoyed by him, and for me, that says something. Not annoyed by him in the way I'm typically annoyed by certain actors in Nollywood or the character. I was annoyed at the character because he was portraying it right. I Every time he said "Namami room be that," I wanted to enter into the screen and slap him because we have heard, keep quiet, is your mother's room. But I liked him. I would like to see him a lot more in a lot of things. I think he did a really good job of playing um spoilt younger one who the mom loved really a lot, missing his mother 10 years after she's passed, his inability to move beyond that, the way he basically, in quotes, has rubbished his life, refusing to take any responsibility for anything. And then at the end, the way he sinks into his body. There's also like a physicality towards the end when his dad comes to see him in the jail and his dad is leaving. And there's a way that he almost folds into himself. And even when Chisom comes to see them at the end, not my favorite scene in the world, but I also like the way he basically was almost recoiling from her until she pulls him to her. And again, I just think he did a really good job. Really glad to see my babe, Clark, my very beautiful wife that I am not sharing with anybody. Um, oh God, she's gorgeous, man. I don't know. She can do no wrong. I don't care. I don't think she was on screen enough. They should have put her in my face more. Um, I liked the scenery of the village. I liked that that scene in the market where everyone's greeting him, you know, I liked that scene a lot. It showed that he was an important person in the community. He's very entrenched in that village, and he didn't feel far removed from where the film was set. What else did I like? I guess I liked the first 54 minutes of the film. Yeah.
Ooh. There we go. There's foreshadowing for the second part. All right, thanks, Vanessa. Elizabeth, you want to tell us what you liked about The Lost Days?
Oh yes, I'll tell you. So, first thing for me is location. I thought the Ibadan, I'm trying, sorry, Abeokuta, Abeokuta location was really good. For me, the film setting is a major asset. Um, the slow life, should I put it that way, that aesthetic, I really like it. And this is like 90% of the entire film, so yeah, really good. The casting of Foma Fafunwa, the daughter, and even Moses as the plausible son worked for me. Ifama in particular was acting as Soxoff, and I think, I'm not so sure, maybe this should be her debut. I've not seen her anywhere else. I know she's a director for theater, but I've not seen her in any movie, so I think this is a really good outing. The directing, I'm not so sure too. I think the director shows a promising eye, especially around human interaction, which is what this film is based off of, majorly. I think she gets it. The director gets it. The pacing for me also, I think the pacing is consistent, and consistent in a way where better than the last time I said I liked the pacing, but I felt it was boring. This pacing seems consistent. It's a slow paced film. It's supposed to be, human at heart. So for the genre, this makes sense. The story itself, I really like the story, and the story itself is fundamentally sad and heartbreaking, tale of lost love, lost son, wasted destinies. I feel like that premise, not even feeling like the entire premise is really good. What else? Yes. Personally, my favorite character here is Kola Jr. The when I started watching it, initially I was like, nah, get this guy off my front, like, cause he just had this mop looking. I don't know what that hair was doing. I don't know what they were doing in the costume design or whatever design with that hair. And, first, that was mommy room, that all that anger, I was like, get this guy from my face. But really, I really like the character and the characterization, because I think that in this entire thing, I think that's the one thing whoever wrote this paid attention to. I feel like the person just took Collagenous character and, finished their quota of writing and developing character off of that character. Because I feel the character is well written, robust, went through character development and all that shindig. So yeah, that's what I really like. Again, I also want to say that Steve Gukas looks like Steve Gukas will save us. I mean, I don't think it's 100% yet, but it looks like this is one of those things that, you're like, yeah, sure, it could be proved, but yeah, maybe Steve Gukas will actually save us. So yeah, that's what I like for now. Thank you.
All right, okay. Positivity. All right, thank you, Elizabeth. Chinrike, do you want to tell us what you liked about The Lost Days?
Hey everyone, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So, The Lost Days, what I liked about it, I like the themes it explored, themes around, themes about forgiveness, past regrets, emotional healing. Those were some of the film's most resonant themes. So I really like that it explored those themes. I like films that do that. I also like the moral ambiguity on display. Like the contrast between the two brothers, how one was portrayed as seemingly bad, but ultimately shown to like have a good heart and all of that, and the other one, the supposedly perfect son. I also like there's something clever they did with the should I say, publicity or marketing, where they pitched it as a love story between between older couples, and even the name and everything given to that, but it was ultimately about the son. I kind of like that misdirection. I like when films surprise me, when it's not so predictable. I liked a lot of the performance. I liked some of the performances. Bimbo Mano was solid as usual, as expected from a veteran. Ifeoma Fafunwa was, she was pretty solid. She showed control. I also liked the attention to detail to a lot of things. You could see that a lot of attention to detail was put into making the film. I also love how it captured like the rhythm and feeling of a contemporary rural life. That contemporary is in quotes. The pacing was an interesting choice. I like that the director went with it. It's rare to see films that demand for you to just relax and take your time and watch it and allow it to build. Slow burns. I like slow burns when they are done right. What else worked for me? Let me see. Let me just go through my notes. Let's see. I don't know. Overall, it was it's a specific type of film, and that type of film it is. I'll get into that later. I would say it was pretty solid. So yeah, I think that's about it for now. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Chinweke. Edwin, do you want to tell us what you liked about The Lost Days?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So Lost Days, I really liked the film as a whole, but to get into specifics, I liked the casting, first of all. Ifeoma Fafunwa was an inspired choice. She has this, I think it's because she's done a lot of theater, directing and acting in theater, but she has an incredible control of micro expressions. You can see her like contemplate choices in microseconds. You can see her like assess a situation, shift her perspective, and then act. And that's something we rarely see from like older actors in Nollywood, because everybody has become a shouting machine, or they're always like over the top, shade to Shafi Bello. But she's very measured. She's very calm. She's very muted in a way that allows the performance to breathe. Like by like minute 20, everybody was in love with her. Even me, I was in love with her. I was like, this woman can do no wrong. Give her what she wants. Let her have her child. I love that. I love Bimbo Manuel was amazing. Like he was like I think just putting them beside each other, them playing off each other was like so mwah, mwah. I loved it so much. And then of course the other, I would say Nkem was a miss, but that's for later. But Badge and Dorothy were great. They were really, really great. Like they were the sibling camaraderie was authentic. It felt real. It felt lived in. The twists worked because they sold it as siblings. So I loved all of that. I also loved that it was set in Abeokuta, small town, slow life. There's so much stuff set in Lagos that just seeing somebody take the risk of setting a film in Abeokuta in a small town and believing that small town can carry the weight of a big film was like refreshing for me. I enjoyed that a lot. I also really enjoyed the directing. This was, I think, Winonia's first, her debut as a director, and you could tell that she put her back into it. Like she took the script, which was, the script was something, but she took that script and she milked that script for all it was worth. She milked so many like heartfelt moments. She milked, like you could see that there were a lot of directorial choices that helped to elevate the script, and I really, really loved that. Something I also really loved was like the fishing scene. The fishing scene was it was slow. There was drama in that scene, but it was also slow in a way that it felt authentic. I think that's the word I'm using for. There's a lot of authenticity in this film. There's a lot of authenticity in the acting, in the directing, in the creative choices, in the most of the execution. And so by the time it got to the parts where I was, rolling my eyes, I didn't roll my eyes too much because I was like, I can see where this was going. This was a very strong debut. It was a different kind of Nollywood film. We haven't seen something like this in a while. I think the last one that dared to go in this route was God Calling, and even God Calling didn't achieve as much as this did. And I think finally, I also really, really liked that this was a film about two older people, at a different phase in their life, reconciling with the mistakes that they made in their past. We often don't see a lot of older characters in Nollywood get three-dimensional writing and directing, and it was very refreshing to see somebody trust their film in the hands of older actors and not hope, that the story and the directing would carry the message across. So yeah, those are the things I liked.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Edwin. And, I would say Ada. Is that Ada? Do you want to tell us what you liked about The Lost Days? Ada, are you there? I don't know.
Hear me?
Yes. Oh, sorry. What do we call you? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I said that is the
Okay,
name.
okay. All right, go on. Sorry, can we hear you for a second?
Okay. What I liked about the Lost Days. So in the opening scene, this is the one thing I liked. When Chisom and her mother were came through the door, and I saw like full length of Chisom's. I don't know the babe's name. Is it Rose or something? So she walked in, and I saw her purple dress, and
Sorry, is that breaking for everybody else, or is it just me?
Yes, she
Yes,
is.
it is.
Oh, sorry. I tried going off and coming back
hello.
on. It seems like you're breaking for everyone. Okay. Mrs. C, what did you like about The Lost Days?
So, what I liked about The Lost Days, I'm going to echo everyone else on the mature romance. I always appreciate that. Bimbo Manuel, as always, just a powerhouse. I love to see him on my screen. He never fails me. I thought, again, I have questions about a lot of the dialogue and the script and stuff, but I did think he had good chemistry with Ifoma, and that was great. So they were really cute with the initial flirting and the awkwardness of, I don't know what this person is, or am I misreading? Or I thought that was captured quite nicely in their body language. And I thought that was nice. And I imagine that also has something to do with some of the direction. My favorite thing here was the location. I really liked a lot of the locations. I think especially when they were by the water, when they were fishing, when Mima Manuel's character and Informer's character had their, little talk by the water as well. When Badge and Clark's character were by the water as well. The water just had, in my opinion, the best shots. I think there was also this other location I liked. It was like a hill where our older couple were as well. I liked that location. I liked the bush. I thought the little village had some life to it, which I appreciated as well. So I thought that was pretty good. I liked the little uncompleted building that Kola and his babe and his friends were hanging about. I I appreciate that Kola had a bricklayer build. It didn't look like he was built in the gym, which I guess was pretty nice. I don't know if this ties or not, but I thought it was a cute touch, the art hanging in the house and Moses painting in his own house. It's, it kind of showed a bit of that relationship. He paints, sends stuff back or brings stuff home. His daddy's so proud of him. He hangs his paintings up. But, and then there's the deadbeat son collar. So there was that. I appreciate them not pulling a twist out of their ass. Like, I felt like it worked. Is the twist my favorite thing? No, but I appreciate it not being out of nowhere. So there's that. I think Ifeoma and Clark have a good enough resemblance from mother-daughter, and I quite liked that as well. But yeah, I felt like there were two different stories in here, and I quite liked the first one.
Okay. Let me see whether others thing will work now. All right, Adad, you want to try again telling us some of the things you liked
Yeah.
about the last day? All right.
Yeah. I just like one thing, which I was saying earlier, is the babes. So Chisom's daughter's purple dress at the beginning of the film. I have that in brown, and I wore that to church today, and I was like, this is so beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right. What I liked, everybody has basically said, at least I would only be doing like a montage of what everybody has said, but I guess Bimbo, I should go ahead. Bimbo Manuel, absolutely amazing actor, always killing it. From my main introduction to Bimbo, which was Fourth Republic, he's just been absolutely killing it for me. In different kinds of roles as well. So it's good to see him here. I actually like the cast in general. The cast I thought was very strong, very suited to the roles they were playing. Mrs. C, like I said, the location is a huge part of this. I think, Abiyokuta actually feels like a character in this. It feels like it's part of it. And I think it helps that mommy lied. I can't remember her name. Elijah's going to Nsukka. And so when you get there, like, you really feel it that this is not, this is not Nsukka. But, I like all of the locations, all the different parts, the uncompleted buildings, the bush for kidnapping, everything. It's nice to have locations that are different from the rest of Nollywood has been offering. And even just being able to record outside. It helped it give the film its own sort of personality. The other thing I wanted to mention was just production design in general. I thought it was pretty okay. Like, you have to, if the location outside is doing this thing, like, you need to make sure that every other aspect inside and indoors, all the other things you produce has to meet up. And I thought they did a good job with a lot of that. So when Elizabeth says Steve Lucas might save us, I think that's a strong part of, I think the production here is a strong part of why this film works as well as it does. Because I think if this film is something else, if like it's this old couple thing happening in Lagos, if this is the same story but happening in Lagos, I think this feels a lot more still than it does. And I do agree with some of the pacing that it chooses, some of the parts that it decides to give itself a little bit of texture. when it slows down, I did like some of that. So yeah, all in all, yeah, production is just the strongest part for me in this, and Bimbo Manuel, to be honest. So yeah, those were the things I really enjoyed. All right, the things that we did not like. Vanessa, do you want to tell us?
Sure, why not? Anything in the film after the 54th minute, I didn't like. When oh God, who mentioned the writing was was it anyway, the writing was I just want to beg Nollywood. I'm not, again, before I will be accused of trying to take food off of anybody's plate. I'm begging you people. Unless you people are prepared to hold TJ Abdul's hand as he writes your films, you people should stop this nonsense. Because his affinity for unnecessary subplots and unnecessary twists 95.5% of the time always ruins your film's second and third act. So you have a beautiful first act where, and this is me saying for this film, because in another film that we just watched like 3 weeks ago, the first act didn't beautiful. Nothing was beautiful about that film. God, I'm going through a lot. But like this film at least managed, and I think a lot of it, like Edwin said, was dependent on Winonia's directing and how she pulled out everything that she could pull out, especially with the human interactions in the first 54 minutes of this film. But obviously, the rest of it was not anything she could do to fix it, because I don't understand. And this is my thing, yeah? I don't even, like Mrs. C said, I don't even mind the Moses is their son twist. In fact, it's quite plausible. The explanation that they gave for it, okay, I accepted, back home. But this whole devolving into a kidnap and one person is collecting money in the bush, one person all of a sudden is a murderer. What are we doing here? Well, let me say attempted murderer. And not just attempted murder of a woman that turns out to be his mother, attempted murder of his own brother. He was ready to tie his own. And I'm like, what has this devolved into? I was enjoying the slow pace. I was having a slow morning. So I was like, I'm going to watch this. And I was like, oh, perfect. Slow morning, slow paced film. I was enjoying whatever this was. And I'm not saying this should have been a romance. Again, I don't hate the twist of the sun. I would have liked a drama that did not result in kidnap and running through a bush and shooting guns. Like a familial drama dealing with the fact that your parents lied about who you were for the entirety of your life. And here comes this strange woman who, by all whatever your mother has said, is the woman that your father actually loved and not her. I would have liked to see us delve more into the emotional aspect of this, how this affects both children. What is her name? Nkem and Moses, and the fact that they have a sibling that they've never met, how this affects Kola Jr., who already is not, for the past 10 years, has not dealt very well with his mom being dead. And all of a sudden now, the person who he's always thought was his brother from like both him and his mom is apparently his half brother. There's a lot that could have been, that we could have chosen to go with, but instead we chose to go with this odd, very odd choices. So again, I'm begging you people, if you people are prepared to continue to hire TJ Abdul, you people should please do the needful. Also, again, like Winonia's directing as regards the people was fantastic, but some of it lost me in some places. And I'm not like a film, I keep saying, I'm not a film head. I don't know these things. I'm not a cinephile. I don't know what to point out, but some things, again, from after the 54th minute, felt very odd. You know what else I hate? The Kumbaya hug at the end of the film. The Kumbaya hug at the end of the film. I'm sorry, you're not going to kidnap me, try to kill me in the bush. I just survived cancer. Guys, I just survived cancer. I'm in revision. I'm supposed to go back for my scans 6 months later. And then I'm gonna waltz into a police office and be like, I know people, come here, sons, I want to be your mother. No, absolutely not. And then they all end up in some stupid hug at the end of the film, giving me 2003 Nollywood. No shade to 2003 Nollywood, but those films always ended in a hug. All that was left at the end of this film was to God be the glory. I swear that's all we needed. We needed a to God be the glory at the end. Because I don't understand how this film devolved into what it became. And that's what throws the pacing off, because you start off at this slow, whatever slice of life in a slow town. People are dealing with the reckoning of their past mistakes and the decisions I feel like that's all we needed. A reckoning with the decisions that you've made. The reckoning did not have to involve kidnapping. Yeah, guys. Again, please. CJ Abdul, the evils that you have done is enough. And guys, before people say I said something wrong, it's just a saying, it's Twitter sayings, but he's gonna do you guys more damage in Nollywood, and I'm sick of it. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Vanessa. Oh, who's next? Was it Elizabeth or Edwin?
Elizabeth.
Okay.
Anyways, what do I not like? Let's start. So I'm going to start on the technical level, which is not a lot. So there are minor quibbles with, say, the inconsistent color grading. Sorry, guys. So I have first the inconsistent color grading, and then the sound design. The color grading at some point was giving Kolawole Senior red tint. I don't know if anybody noticed that, like his beard, like it was red.
Even Junior's face
And then
had red tints.
so I was like, okay, this person does not have rated, but okay. Then the sound design sometimes feel out of place. So most especially for me would be I have a crying baby in the background. Would be the festival part. There was that bit around the festival, right? Where I'm trying to remember. It was supposed to create tension. There was one ominous music going on, but it wasn't translating well because I kept wondering if the sound was imitating wildfire or it was suggesting that someone was watching it from her. But then the camera movement did not support either idea because I had to rewind that to like, why is this sound sounding like this? Is it the fire eaters or is somebody watching before? But none of this was going on and that sound was on. I was like, weird choice. Then let's start with the worst of the worst of the worst. These small distractions cannot compare to the fundamental problem here, guys. This story and these casts, they were laid down by a script that wasn't ready for screen. I don't know. It wasn't ready. The film writing is the weakest link, guys. The dialogue, let's talk about the dialogue. It feels tilted. It's not even just feeling, it's feeling being stilted. Is the fact that the lines written serve absolutely only the plot than the conversations reflecting genuine interaction. They don't feel like that. It feels written, curated for the plot. Like, you need to save this because we need it to show up later. And this is apparent in its reliance on the, so much on the nose exposition. There was a part where, our character, who was that one? When Kola was saying, you are the good child and I am the bad child. I'm like, hold up. Why are you saying that? I think we saw that or film. Why are you repeating that into my earring? And this kind of conversation, like this dialogue comes up all the time. And this weakness it collapsed in the fifth, like half of the film after the, of course, you see the dialogue shows up in the first half around all the talking to each other. And that's why I don't even know when people say you saw romance. I didn't see that interaction. I thought it was just, friends being friends. But anyways, let's move on from there. But immediately after that kidnapping crisis like this film went into crisis itself. From that point, the sequence of events just defies logic. When the daughter first came and she opened the door, got down, she first squeezed face like yam, came and folded her hand. I was like, okay, You're not going to greet anybody. Have they seen you before? Do we know you? Who's there? What grand? Nothing. She just squeezed face. And the next thing, I'm going to call the IGP. And I'm like, am I hearing this? Like, nothing that was even coming out of their mouth made sense with whatever was going on. The key plot points, even that 50 million naira drop, I didn't understand how that happened. Like, why are we not seeing the police physically? Why is it like, no, let's undo. It didn't make sense to me. Sorry, I didn't buy it. And that's not them bonding with our kidnapper. Let me not say our kidnapper, but that's not them bonding with Moses right in the middle of your mother who just got cancer, who is missing, and you guys went to the river and you're talking. I don't know. Another one that felt so out of place. Like, should it be happening like this? Like, again, you can see that this story is curated as scenes that should happen. And now it's feeling out of place. Like, yeah, at some point they will bond because it serves its purpose so that at the end she can come and fight him, right? And say, oh, I thought we were friends. You've already figured that out. But how it happened is the problem here. Like, why is it there? Why in that moment? And again, because of so much exposition. And again, I didn't even know who wrote this until Vanessa mentioned, and it clicks for me because I'm not so sure. I think he writes telenovelas because it seems there's something that is in tandem with telenovela writing where you can explain, you can introduce something that was not set up previously because it's fine because that's how it is supposed to work, right? There was a part where Moses just dropped something out of nowhere that, killing a stranger. Abi, when Kola said killing a stranger is the taboo here, I'm like, since when? I'm like, so you just dropped that information for us so that it will give you a reason for not wanting to kill this woman. Like, it's enough reason for him not to kill her because it's sort of like we've seen his character growth. You don't have to tell us that the village, you should not kill a stranger, is a taboo. It does nothing here. Like, that line wouldn't have been here and it would have still been fine. Like, there is no reason for it to be there. And another thing that fumbles it for me is the significant narrative twists, right? You've already, and I know that it probably worked. The idea is maybe trying to, again, misdirection, but I think it falls flat, especially when you want to introduce an audience reveal. You've already implied that Moses could be Chisom's lost son. Too early. Personally, for me, I thought it was too early. Because again, it didn't seem like there was anything to look forward to. And that twist really didn't serve me. Like, when it shows, I was like, it really didn't matter. And in fact, when I saw that it was a bad guy, I was like, expected. So you were trying to go for the son who did not know the mother is such a bad guy. I didn't know. I thought it would have been a stunning review if we didn't have any of these things and if Moses' motivation for the crime was tight. But here, the Moses' motivation for this crime is so confusing. It's actually mad. It's because the writer invented it on the spot, woke up and said, listen, because what do you mean the rich versus the poor explanation? It just feels thin and underdeveloped. Like, leaving his character, the arc is deeply unsatisfying. Like, it makes no sense. It's flat, unbelievable. There was this reaction he gave when his father spoke for like 10 minutes. So guys, I had to count. I think it was like 13 minutes when he was just talking. My children, this one, that one, he just stood up. Just discovered your mother, and this is not the first time. The man told you once. Although, let's even talk about how that whole fight thing didn't look so realistic when he shot somebody, shot at something and he said beating his brother. But that's by the way. He stood up and said, so I'm not the only liar here. I'm like, all of these things that they just said, that's what you say. Like, the writing I was having so much fun here. Like, because this script fails to connect its own emotional stakes. Like, this story is already heartbreaking. At the surface level, if you look at it, right, it's already heartbreaking. But the emotional stakes itself is ruined because the writer just does not know how to, unfortunately, write. And then when they eventually came together, when he was talking to, when that scene where the sister came, I need to talk to you. Again, where did that one come from? And poor, you are rich. It's so bizarre. Even that entire scene, like, why did it happen? Because we saw this guy partying with his friend. Okay, you lost job, but you were painting. Again, his character feels so underdeveloped. Like, we don't know who this guy is. He paints, he parties, he likes his father, It's not about how his action is not in tandem with what he does know. It's about how even him does not know who he is. Like, this greed and desperation was not fully developed or brought out of anywhere, right? I don't know. Then that's into where even that 10 minutes long talk from the father. I didn't buy into it. I'm sorry, the emotional stake was not there. And then he ended it with one Yoruba that in Salah Gemoti Biomo Agboye. Again, that line was so out of place, completely out of place. Why are you warning now? These boys have already kidnapped this woman. They are in jail. So who are you, Allah Gemo, giving birth, and why are you warning? Sorry for the French, which Allah Gemo has born? What are you saying? And this is me, a very Yoruba head here. Even literary, like Yoruba literature, you score 0 for that line. Why is it showing up? It feels like the writer discovered this proverb saying and said to tag it onto that line. Then the end, as Vanessa said, things were just happening because this could have been something so great. Like I mentioned in the story is heartbreaking at the surface level, but the execution is just from Inkem to Moses, 2 characters that I wish that we can just put aside Ghana must go and fling behind our shoulder, like get this out of here. But anyways, that these are the things I don't like, at least for now.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Elizabeth. Chiweke, tell us what you do not like about the Lost Days. Oh, hang on. Wait. Sorry. Edwin is back.
No, I think I go up actually.
Is it?
I think I went after Elizabeth, or did I get the other
No,
wrong?
I think Edwin is next.
Okay,
Edwin.
all right.
Yeah, hi. So things I didn't like about The Lost Days. I would like to start my submission by saying that the writing was terrible. My Jesus. I'm tired of crying about writing. We've said this thing a million times that the writing needs to get better. The writing was terrible in this film. Like, I can only imagine how much work Wingonia had to do to get it to a place that was serviceable, because what carried this film was the relationships. The relationships was the emotional heft of this film, because the plot was not plotting. Let's start from the fact that this woman is in remission from cancer. She's a billionaire. They talk about her going to London and something in 6 months. And like, somebody who is in remission from cancer, who has just finished chemo, simply does not have the energy to be moving around like that. It's just not possible. Like, there is no universe where that happens, where you literally are just like, you just finished your chemo to the point where your nails are still black, you still have splotches from your cancer treatments, and then you're traipsing around to Abeokuta, which, by the way, only one point in the entire film do they mention medicine. And it's at the point where she has already been kidnapped and she's in the kidnap center and she's like, oh, I need my medicine, otherwise I will die. And I'm like, they never showed her taking drugs at any point in this entire film. They never showed that she was still like, apart from like maybe at the beach where she kind of removes her hair tie to show us that she's bald, which I feel like should have been a major plot point. The fact that this woman, if a woman shaved her head for the film, should have been like milked to its logical conclusion, but they kind of just talk about it in passing, talk about the medicine in passing. So there's that. Then there's the MacGuffin of the mother. Mommy is essentially a plot device to shocking in whatever they want to shocking in at any point in time. They talk about how, oh, Mommy really hates this woman, that Mommy said that the father only loved the woman. And then at some point during the film, you just come and tell us that no, she actually loved the woman to the point where she brought her in and raised her child. Like, so why then would she tell her children, why then would she antagonize her children against Chisom, if she knows that Moses is Chisom's mother? Abi Chisom is Moses' mother. Like, it makes no sense for a character who goes out of her way, knowing that this person that my husband has given Bele is a young woman who is ostracized from her family. I take her in, I help her till she gives birth, I decide to take in her child and raise her child, which, by the way, they make some whole speech about how they all made a pact never to speak about it. But they're all yapping everywhere about the thing that they supposedly make a pact about. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on with this script? What is going on? Then there's that necklace as well in the script, where the necklace looks like it's from Shein, and Kola is like holding it. I'm like, this necklace is from 2022. It's from 2022. There is no way that this butterfly necklace that looks like something from Shein, is from mommy's era. Like, it's not possible. It's not. So why? And I know that thing was in the script, like, because there was so much like, oh, he holds it to his, move it to the left, move it to the right, he puts it on his chest. I'm like, So what's going on here? So there are all of these MacGuffins. Then there's the whole thing about the wealth. They kind of mention that Chisom is wealthy, and they kind of hint at it, but they don't move like wealthy people. They don't. Like, they don't move like Chisom makes a lot of noise about how, oh yeah, wealth is not everything, but girl, it don't look like you have wealth. It just don't. Like, so I was I was confused. I was so confused. There was also the part about the police where when Chisom gets kidnapped, they're like, oh, let's go to the police station. Let's go and report to the police. Something. Then 2 minutes later, when Incan comes, they're now like, oh, police is not your friend. Don't go to the police. Let's just pay. But you had already gone to the police and you had already reported the case. So what was the police doing the entire time you were doing all of that? And they kept going to police station, by the way. While they were doing this whole, let's raise the money, let's do this, let's do that, they kept going to police station. And I don't know where anybody has 50 million lying around that if you go to your bank and say you want to remove 50 million, especially because your mother is literally in remission from cancer, that they will just give you the 50 million. Because the entire first and second act of the film happened over several weeks. And then the third act happens in 2 days. Everything that happens in 2 days. And it's kind of insane that all of this happens when literally the whole emotional core of the film is trauma. Everybody's traumatized. Bimbo Manuel's character is traumatized. Mami is traumatized. Kola is traumatized. Moses is traumatized. Chisom is traumatized. Nkem is traumatized. There's so much trauma that I could have done a 3-part sprawling saga about what happened in teenage years and what happened in the 20s years and how Bimbo's marriage went, how Chisom's marriage went, and why they're coming back. All of that was just discarded for some nonsensical plot twist about kidnappings, where even Kola being a part of the local government guard was just in service of that plot twist so that he would have people he would kidnap the girl with. I was just like, why is Kola with a gun? Like, people say Kola is an NFA. If Kola is an NFA, how is he also an upstanding citizen member of this community so that they even allowed him to become head of vigilante? It does not make sense. It doesn't make sense. Why would Nkem come to... They never even mention where she is. In the call that Moses has with Nkem, he doesn't mention where she is, but somehow she appears in the village a few hours later. How? Mami did not, Chisom did not mention it. Moses did not mention it in the call. How did Nkem know where to go? And then why, in God's name, do we have a whole scene where Nkem has turned into a private investigator, bad cop, and she's doing bad cop, and she's coming to people's faces, and she's doing you? I said, yeah, I understand that Crime and Justice, you wrote Crime and Justice a couple of months ago, but girl, this is not Crime and Justice. Let's not conflate issues. Like, this is... And Nkem was already struggling on one leg the entire film. But that scene was just what I said, okay, this baby is not a serious actress. Please, please move her to the side, This baby is not a serious, because she'd have said no. She's like looked at that screen and said, this thing, please. I know that you are trying to do, but don't set me up like this. No. And then, just to finally echo what Vanessa said, why in God's name do we have that final scene? There was a million other ways that could have been resolved. There was still the conversation of, like, Bimbo Manuel and Chisom's character, it was just implied that they would just be together. It was just implied. Like, they never had a conversation. They never resolved anything. They literally were about to, like, split at that point. And then all of a sudden, she's talking about, I want to be your mother. I want to waiting. I with the mother you never had. They are my sons. Huh? Sons, Bao. From where? To where? How? And then Nkem that literally has practically took her inside Moses' eye. 2 minutes later, is coming to form a hug. From where to where now? Haba. People should pity us now. Why? No, why? Like, because I really feel bad for Wingonia, because, like, that's third act of the script. There was no fixing it. there was no fixing it. So the fact that I even felt I finished it to the end and I felt some kind of heart cold for the characters is because of the writing and the directing and the acting. The writing did not do them any favors. And that's what I hated about the film. The writing was like a cancer that just kept spreading and infecting everything else. And despite the attempts to start, one final thing. The film should have been cut shorter. That festival scene was too long. It was long to the point of distraction. It was long to the point of annoyance. I rolled my eyes. I hissed. There was this girl that was holding a 5 finger of fire and was just waving. I'm like, baby girl, you don't need to be here. I understand that they're going to pay your extra fee. Just collect the money and go. You don't need to. There was no need for giving her a minute to wave her 5 finger fire when people were actually blowing fire. There was no need. So that scene was too long. And I feel like that's the only directorial thing I have an issue with. That should have been cut shorter. A lot of scenes should have been cut shorter and tighter. It should have been like an hour, 30 minutes, not 2 hours. There was a lot of things that they could have cut, like the festival scene, a couple of other things here and there that could have been cut shorter to get to the point. Even that whole, the women in this that were sexually harassing Paula, unnecessary. Like, we are already having an emotional scene here between fathers and sons. We don't need these babes, doing reverse sexism. It was unnecessary. So that's where I am with that.
All right. Thanks, Edwin. Chinweke, do you want to tell us what you didn't like about The Lost Days?
Yeah, let me just say that was a very passionate review from Edwin. Oh. So, the things I did not like about this film, I feel like a lot of people have already mentioned the writing, so I'll just skip on that. I would say, just to add a little bit to that, I would say it lacked adequate character development. Maybe the characters could have benefited from a little bit more development. And another thing I didn't like is, I don't know how to, okay, let me try to explain this. So the pacing, right? Now, I don't have a problem with slow-paced films, but my issue is that if you have to make a film slow-paced, you have to give me something, Like, it's slow-paced films in this current times are very demanding. You have to sit there and pay attention. So it's like I'm paying attention, but like there's not a lot going on after a while. It's just I'm just waiting, and then at the end, what I was waiting for wasn't exactly satisfactory. So it didn't quite feel like the best use of my time. Um, Another thing I didn't like was it felt too safe. It was too safe, like even though there was a kidnapping in this film by someone's own child, and even that didn't quite feel very risky. Just everything just felt too safe. And I think that's as a result of the a lot of the characters being generic characters, where it felt like where I would describe it would be like those coloring books, where all those books where you color in, where you just like have stuff and then you paint it in and then the picture ends up looking nice and pretty, right? But then there's really no soul or substance to it. A lot of it felt like that. And then it was also difficult. Like there was a bunch of anachronisms that made it difficult to place the time where the film was taking place. There was also a whole lot of exposition dump, like that interrogation scene. I don't know what the hell that was about. Um, it was just so weird. And then it also had the didactic tone undermined the emotional impact. Like it felt like it was trying to tell me how to feel or what to think, rather than trusting the audience to come into their own conclusions. Personally, I prefer films that take a more objective and observational approach. Just show things as they are, and then let the audience maybe sit with the discomfort and then draw meaning for themselves. Um, so it just felt like it was telling me this is how it's supposed to be, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I like when people have to have stuff to say, but it's like, try to be a bit more sort of with it. What else did I not like? Let me see. Oh, the performance of the daughter was, I mean, granted, the script didn't do her any favors, but, it wasn't the most outstanding performance. And then that scene where she went to the riverside with Badge, I was like, "What's going on? We're in the middle of a kidnap, and your mother that just recovered from cancer was kidnapped, and then you're going to chill with this guy at the riverside. Like, that was just weird. I would have said the biggest thing for me was just that it was just too safe. It was, like, if you're gonna demand my attention this much, give me something, make something happen. And yeah, I think that's about it for now. Yeah, thank you.
All right, fair. Thank you. Thanks, Chineke. Ada, do you want to tell us what you didn't like about The Lost Days?
Yes, I do. So the thing is, the reason we're all here is because we give a blip, like we care about Nollywood. It almost even seems like we care a bit more than these people do about their films. We care, and that's why they don't give a blip about the characters. They don't care enough about the characters. They're more interested in showing us pretty lights and pretty frames and pretty people. They don't give a flying about the characters. They are not interested in the characters' journeys. They're not interested in the transformation that the characters have made. They don't care enough for me. Like, what were we even watching? Like, what is the story? Like, what are you trying to say? Every single film that you love and care about, it preaches at you. All great films. Think about all of the films that you love. They preach at you. They have something that they are saying. But what was this film saying, really? It was just a bunch of stuff happening to the characters, confusing everybody. And I feel like, because I don't really want to go on and on and on, because we're all pretty much saying the same thing, but I feel like one of the main things that we can do collectively, for those of us who are filmmakers and whatever, is we can actually look into giving, because you can't give what you do not have. You want to tell a film to preach at someone, you want to tell a film to change someone's life, you want to tell a film to even entertain someone. Are you doing that to yourself? Because to tell a story is to understand the to understand the hero's journey, is to know what is the act 1, act 2, act 3, to know what all of these things mean, and to tell it beautifully, so that at the end we feel accomplished, we feel like we've gained something, we feel like you let us into this character and we have gained something. We don't gain from Nigerian films. And it's unfortunate and it's sad. And this is such a core Nigerian story. Like, this concept is so ripe. And if they had actually done if they had cared a little bit about the audience and about the character, if they had cared a little bit, it would have been nicer than what it was. But unfortunately, you cannot give what you do not have. So I guess pretty lights and pretty faces. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Ada. Some comments have been coming through. All right. So, Still Human says, I agree with Vanessa. They shouldn't have gone the kidnapping / attempted murder route, and I hated the ending. Gloria says, your mom has just been kidnapped and you're sitting at the riverbank exchanging stories. They should have just given me Collard and Chisom's story. Adayo says, in defense of the writing, it was done more than 5 years ago, so I would think Abdul has grown since then. Jawari says,
read Vanessa's response now.
Sorry. Vanessa says, the red circle is proof that he hasn't grown at all. And Eden says that explains a lot. So take whichever response you want from there. Jabari says, what happened to the girlfriend that took the money though? Potential for a sequel, the found days. Gloria says, also, Chisom wanted to hide the pregnancy from her parents. So for a good 9 months and a little extra, her parents didn't come looking. A 2-hour plus long film, but I still had to deal with quick telling over showing to close plot holes. Okay. All right. Edwin says, yeah, this place, everyone's struggling not to swear. The pain is real. All right. Mrs. C, what did you not like about The Lost Days?
Yeah, so I'm gonna echo everybody. The third act, Jesus Christ. I I don't understand. I think I said earlier that there were two stories in here, and I preferred the first one. I don't know why we need, because what was this kidnapping plot doing here? What business did this kidnapping side quest have in this film? Why do we need to go out of our way for drama? Because I tell you, this kidnapping quest is a quest. This kidnapping quest is here for the same reason Far From Home had a school shooting. Drama. We need higher stakes. Bigger, cause there was so much here. There was enough here. There was enough here for a dramatic story, and we did not need to enter the bush. In bush. I completely get the golden child, who everyone thinks is the golden child, is not the golden child, and we see that happen. Cool. Why is it losing his job was enough, right? We hear from your boss that you were a thief and you lie. How does that translate to kidnapping? How does that translate to kidnapping and murder? The lack of hesitation to, alright, I guess I'm just gonna come in here and murder this woman. It's like the way Mr. C, you had this thing to say about Blood Sisters, where they've accidentally killed someone and all of a sudden we're hacking a body to pieces, right? For some reason, you have the ability to hack a body to, it's like, from nowhere, a liar and a thief, sure, right? How many civil servants in Nigeria are thieves? I don't think a lot of them are going around with the ability to do murders. That whole plot was unnecessary. I hated the resolution of that plot. And I kept going through it with, and again, obviously films are gonna film, but I can even understand Chisom's character's attachment to, her son, right? And willingness to still want to try and work through this and have some sort of relationship and all of that. But again, I think all of that just really made me question Chisom's character in, who is this person? What values does she have? And what is it about her that is so kumbaya in the face of, I got shot in the stomach and kidnapped by this man I loved 30 years ago's children, one of whom happens to be my own. I don't know. I made it through to the end of this thing thinking there's no way this relationship survives this, right? There's no way this romantic relationship is rekindled in the face of your love interest's son's kidnapping and shooting you in the stomach. No way. But apparently they are her sons now. I know the other one is biologically her son, but they're her sons now. And we're watching this with friends and I was like, yeah, this guy raised really shitty children. I question his parenting, and question who he is as a person. And like, maybe we can blame Ronke, but Ronke is dead. She's not here to defend herself. I guess. Ronke is not here to defend herself. So we don't know if she's the reason why these two boys are absolutely good for nothing. And it's like, well, damn, could have married this woman and had Nkem as a child and not Ronke, because Nkem seemed fine, apart from the bad acting, which gets me there. Clark is so beautiful, so stunning. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous goddess. Give her fewer lines. Just fewer lines. She's so stunning. I love to see her, but fewer lines. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the third act really fell apart because like people have mentioned, why on earth is Clark going to the riverside I don't know, the lack of urgency, the showing up to this village. If she has the IGP's number, why is she coming to this village first before calling IGP? Third act was a hot mess. And that was my biggest problem with it. Special shout out to the color grading was weird in a bunch of places, and I say that as somebody who doesn't typically notice much or care. It was jarring. I remember there was a scene where they zoomed in on Chisom's hands, and it looked like they were patchy. Like I don't know if you've ever burnt yourself with hot water, and like it's peeled and it's just recovering. That's what her hands looked like. But in another scene, her hands looked perfectly fine. So there was a few bits like that which were a bit of a problem. But yeah, that's what I didn't like.
All right. Just to add, yes, start off with some of the light complaints I had. Yeah, some small sound issues here and there. I think Elizabeth mentioned a couple. And even Elizabeth mentioned, and Mrs. C have mentioned, like some of the post-production in terms of the look. Sometimes some things clearly were overdone to the point where you started losing texture on the skin. So that wasn't great. And I also thought some parts in terms of the set, choosing the shots, and I think this is probably Wingonia's sort of shortcomings as, like this is going to be things that she'll discover the more she directs. It's just the choice of shots that could have gone into were not great sometimes. The thing that stands out in my head was the first time Bimbo Manuel's character and like what's this babe's, so I don't keep on calling her mommy. What's Chisom, right? When they meet, it's the most it's just such a letdown of a shot. What's the word I'm using for anticlimactic? Thank you. It was so anticlimactic because like this is supposed to be a big deal, right? And it's just this wide shot and they're kind of in the center of the frame with so much space to each side. And sometimes like that works for like if you want to do an awkward thing and and almost, but this was supposed to be like a really loving moment. And I don't think that was the right shot to use. And there were just several shots kind of like that scattered over where even like sort of the arranging of people, it just seemed more reminiscent of a stage play. Sometimes the way three people were looking at each other, just, they stand like that semicircle thing that Nollywood has been doing for a long time. But that's not even, but again, a lot of people in Nollywood are doing that. So, I'm not expecting Wingonia to come out and just do the expert version on her first go, but hopefully that's something that she can get better on in terms of the blocking and the selection of shots. It's just like in terms of what's the emotion that should be felt in this scene and go from there. So there's that. And then, so everybody's talking about the script and I'm in agreement for most of it, to be honest. I probably would go one small step further. So I think people don't like the addition of the kidnapping thing for the most part and the attempted murder. And I agree. Because like I mentioned in the good, my favorite part of this was Bimbo Manuel. I thought he was so in this bag for this man who had been in the village, and I could just see years have gone through this character and he's been through stuff and he was looking at this woman and things were going on at the back of his mind. And all I wanted to see explode was that. I actually didn't care about the children. That's the one step I'm talking about. I didn't care to see even the children I didn't care for them. Maybe I think that might be what Chinweke was talking about in terms of even some people being underdeveloped. I didn't care for any of the children characters. They added nothing for me. I wanted to see what this explode. Like they could have been there. They could have been part of the, this thing, but all I wanted to see was them sort of explore what this thing. And I say this is what I wanted to see, not just to say, you can't do whatever you wanted to do. I didn't think the thing they chose to do worked. either. And I thought the place they had the biggest strength was in Bimbo Manuel's, in the two main leads love, because the younger people were underdeveloped and uninteresting, to me. This is nothing I wanted to see. Like I said, I think if you would have put this story in Lagos, I would care even a lot less for this than I already do. So the location doing heavy lifting for this, to be honest. And so that's my main issues with this, is just the script, where when I think people have done justice to the script and, the kidnapping parts. I don't think I can add more to that, but yeah, that was my main issue with that. Elizabeth, is there more issues, or do you have pushback? Are we ready
No,
to push?
I'm not pushing. I can never push back. I want to talk about how I just wanted to, because I just put two and two together. One big offense in crime is with the writing is that the writing, somebody did mention that it's safe, right? But the writing did something the writer was probably proud of himself when he did this thing. Tried to put all, rather than write in character development for these characters and a properly fleshed out, rounded human characters, is there to use exposition to finish us and hoping that the exposition will do the heavy lifting and you will forget about the fact that these characters don't work as anything, not even as characters in real life, not even characters on paper, not even as, they're not even 2D, very confused, because oftentimes you see the characters explaining, again, with the way the dialogue is written, to serve purpose to the plot. So that's why you can hear things like, I'm the bad child, you are the good child. At least I'm not the only liar in the house. Have you grown up poor? You are rich. And things that, and even to the ending, the didactic nature with which Chisom was telling shouldn't have done that. Did your daddy teach you that? Did your mommy teach you that? Like, we forget that we're talking to adults here. We're not talking to children. We're talking to, I think that guy should be like in his 30s, Moses. We're talking to grown as humans here. And we're hoping that our didactic nature of boys and girls, don't steal, don't kill, don't kidnap, will fix the deficits in the characterization that is on screen. I find that I don't want to use the interesting derogatorily, because what do you mean that you will cho your way out of the crime scene that you have written? I find that very, very interesting.
Okay. Jabari says, is this a bad thing though? Maybe this can be the start of the pushback section. Is this a bad thing though? Is it really out of the question to be in a tense situation and you go somewhere to clear your head? I mean, they already had the money down. They were just waiting for the call from the kidnappers. Oh, sorry, before we even go to pushback, this from Uti I have to read. Also from, for her badge, she says, the green eyes. Yes, I need, what's her name, Clark? Is it Clark? Clark. The contacts. They've got to go. All right.
Yes.
We can't be wearing
Let me
contacts.
push back.
They've got to,
I'm sorry. It's a lie. Oh, I don't agree. I've
they
been
have to
keeping
go.
quiet. It's a lie. I've been keeping quiet since morning. You people have been sticking on my wife's acting.
Although Vanessa, actually, unless you want to keep the green eyes as a distraction from the acting.
I see. Let me tell you people now, I'm not accepting this. Because since morning, and it's morning, in Cam didn't act. In Cam did one thing. Even please, even should leave my wife for me. This is why in the beginning I didn't want to share my wife with anybody. Because it's like, sorry. No, I just want to put this into perspective. There are some people that are die hard, and maybe they are not on this stage, but there are some that are die hard Nancy Sime fans, and I just want to clarify: contact or no contact, Clark is wiping the floor with Nancy Sime, Sharon Oja, and the likes. So
Nah,
I don't agree.
I don't know about that. I'm
You
not.
don't know about what? You don't know about what?
Nancy her strongest is actually pretty good. You know what? Yeah, I've
If
seen
I
Radio
should,
Boys.
if I should wipe you, if I should wipe you or I code. People, let me just tell you that people should leave Clark alone. I don't want to hear anything else. It's okay. You people should blame TJ Abdul. It's Abdul that caused it. It's Abdul because in the beginning, that one scene in the hospital, she didn't do bad. Even when she came home, she didn't do bad either.
Oh wow! No, I'm too blood single acting.
But then, as soon as we started this whole kidnap Ulabalu, and then Abdul was just writing in the nonsense, writing in the bush. Of course, of course, the acting also went in bush. So people should please leave Clark for me. People should leave Clark for me. I'm begging.
I did have to like, when I said a lot of people were casted well, I felt like, Clark was casted well for the role she was supposed to play in terms of like, she has this ajebo sort of, somebody who has just,
Because she's a
traveled
soft
around.
babe. She's a soft babe. I
Soft,
don't know what to tell you.
And that's good casting, that's good casting that, she don't have to stretch herself too much. That's good. And then
TJ had to make her stress herself. Can you people see?
All this emotional deep, my parents have just been kidnapped. And to be honest, the script is saying, it's making people do a bunch of weird things. Even,
Thank you.
I don't like mentioning Badge, I don't like mentioning Badge as, as a highlight too much because I'm not sure I
did not like it.
I'm not sure
I'm with you. I didn't like it.
I'm not sure I like the man himself, but I do think like I do think like he does have talent in acting, but like even him like struggled with some of the lines that he had to come out with towards that ending. It was just
you are going too far.
That third acting was wild. Some of the things he was saying and having to come up with, I was like, wait, I don't understand. Like either a few people have mentioned, he turned into somebody who was ready to kill his brother there and then, even some of the actions, if he meets this babe in the bush, with the gun pointing towards her head. Why are you giving speech? Shoot her if that's what you come to do. That's what you come to shoot her. Why are you doing?
I have another example. I rolled my eyes so much, my eyes got stuck in my head for 5 seconds. So when they arrested them and the police was interrogating them, and Badge did not want to talk. And he now bent his head and was looking at us through his eye, trying to give us menacing stare. I wanted to carry my 2 fingers like this and took it inside his eye. I was like, this accent is not giving, because all of a sudden is he this menacing character, and you're trying to tell us that there's evil behind his eyes.
The inconsistency in the writing was jarring.
It didn't set up an evil. Like, the funny thing is that stare is supposed to be someone for who is so evil you can't even believe how evil this person is. And they didn't set that up, and then they revert to he's just a guy at the end.
He's just a misguided young man, apparently.
I was like, what are you doing? Don't do that. And that's part of even what I said in terms of like selective shots for Wingonia, because that's in the hands of the director, right? That was not necessary. That was not part of that. That wasn't a good choice to make. But here we go, making Badge do a Kubrick villain stare at the camera for no good reason, when he's very, 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 very far from a Kubrick villain. I don't know. This last step for me, was, forget the last step. From the very moment we started dipping into the children, I don't care. I don't care about these children. It didn't make me, there wasn't enough, like, Ada said, there wasn't enough for me to care about the children. So in terms of the characters of the children. I didn't care about them. And, I just wanted it to, it lost my interest when we started talking about them, to be honest. They weren't as strong acting wise as the adults, and they weren't as developed on the page. So I just didn't know why I had to follow these annoying, very obvious when we started seeing Badge painting, I was like, yeah, all right, it's going to be the bad guy. In fact, the twist, when we were watching, I was convinced Badge was going to turn out to be the bad guy. I just thought, they were going to make it seem like, the other brother, Kola was, is it Kola? Is Kola? Yeah. Kola Jr. wasn't actually that bad. Which actually I guess ended up happening, but I just thought he wasn't going to be the kidnapper, but he even was, so I was like, oh, they still make Kola the kidnapper. I was like, no, but Badge is still gonna be it. That's how sure I was that Badge was gonna be a bad guy. It wasn't really even a twist for me, or it wasn't much of a reveal for me. So, totally uninterested in that side of the script and the story, and yeah, didn't work for me, to be honest. All right. Anything else anyone wants to say before we do our summaries? Okay, Vanessa, give us your summary for The Lost Days.
Sure, why not? If you like a slow-paced film about people reckoning with past choices and past decisions, older actors giving pretty solid performances, watch the first 54 minutes of this film. Thank you.
Wow. It's actually must be that she timed this thing. Like, because this 54 minutes is too exact. All right. Okay. Elizabeth, tell us, give us your summary, please.
I'm very impressed that Vanessa got that hour right at the 54. I would have to go and check, but I knew when this movie went downhill. So, in conclusion, for me, I feel like the film story is a wasted potential. I mean, you have the story. Yeah, something could have happened there. I like the casting, directing. I would have preferred if the story was even more tragic. If it ended on the note that is not kumbaya. But even with all these great elements, it's ultimately disappointment for me due to the poor script. Watch it because I think Steve Gukas is doing something. Even though the script so far, apart from what's that one by Corey? Yeah, but every other one, I feel like the weakness in most of the films he had commissioned is the story. Apart from that northern one, I keep forgetting the name by Corey. Watch it, guys. I mean, way better than whatever it is that you would have seen on Netflix. Even though we do have our films on Netflix. But that's my summary. It's a disappointment. Sorry.
All right. Thanks, Elizabeth. Chinweke, do you want to give us your summary?
Yeah, so my summary of the film is that the film had a lot of heart and ambition, to do something meaningful, with the themes like forgiveness and regret, themes that could have landed really hard. There were a bunch of strong performances and visual care, and like attention to detail, but ultimately for me, it played things too safe, in its story, in the characters, and in the execution. It's like it wanted to go deep, but didn't quite dig far enough. So ultimately, it just left me with a sense of what could have been, instead of what was. But I would say I should add that it's a very solid debut feature for the director, and it's a good foundation to start on. And I'm sure the director is only going to get better from here, and it's one to look out for. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chinweke. Mrs. C, can you give us your summary?
Yeah. It was fine until it fell apart in third act. But again, third act falling apart is not new to us. For a first outing, fair. I am cautiously optimistic. But yeah, just it's not the worst thing we saw this year. It was all right. It was all right. Except the third act.
Okay. I still think the star of the show for this is the production. I think this is Steve Gukas, that is making, because even though I didn't see enough here from Wingonia, if this wasn't a Steve Gukas, a first features production, I didn't see enough here to go, oh, Wingonia is going to be, it's going to be built different. What is built different from this is mainly the production, which Steve Gukas has been. To be honest, those first features they haven't always been this stellar. The one with this guy having PTSD, I didn't think the production in that was amazing. That's something that sticks in my mind. I can't remember the name of that film. But yeah, for me again, the real Bimpon Manuel and the production is the real deal here for me. And but it's not to say like I saw enough to go. I need to not give Wingonia a chance. I haven't seen enough here for me to say that there's going to be anything different. So I hope, it's the first attempt. So, it could go, there's still obviously room for improvement. So I hope that gets taken on board. And I hope she learned a lot from Steve, from the production of Steve. So, and she can take that into whatever she does next. But yeah, no, the winner for me here is mostly Steve. And, I hope he keeps on giving new people a chance. That's actually the best thing about this for me. But yeah, all in all, I enjoyed some of it, didn't enjoy most of it, I guess, especially that second half of the film. So yeah. All right. Thanks everybody. We're going to go on a spree for a bit. We have never done a half year review, guys, and we need to do a half year review. I think we're going to do a half year review end of July or maybe even beginning of August at this point. But because we still have To Kill a Monkey, which is going to be happening next week, and then we're going to have the YouTube, the Zikoko and Anita collab. Is it Takaba? Okay. Yeah, it was Anita to collab. Yes. Okay, Zikoko Live, this thing. They've already dropped one. I guess 2 more to come. So they'll drop another one next. I don't know whether it's Saturday or Friday. They dropped it yesterday. So I'm imagining maybe it's going to be a Saturday again. But hopefully in 2 Sundays they'll have dropped all. So that's what we're going to be discussing. Anyway, it's going to be a couple of fun Sundays for us. We're going to be still discussing Nollywood, production. So we are looking forward to that. So we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one and bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed listening and would like to join live, just follow us on Twitter at IrokoCritic and join us every Sunday 6 p.m. West African time on our spaces.